The world only believes what it can measure, but greatness is born in the unseen. Most people are conditioned to trust only what they can touch, see, or count. They rely on evidence, statistics, validation, and proof before they dare to believe something can happen. But the truth is, everything powerful, everything transformative, everything that ever changed this world began in the invisible. The idea came before the invention. The dream came before the success. The belief came before the reality. The unseen is where true greatness lies. When you decide to become unbelievable, you have to make peace with being unseen, unrecognized, and doubted. You must carry a vision so bold that others can't comprehend it. Because their belief is limited by what they can measure, but your power comes from what you can imagine. The greatest architects of destiny didn't wait for the world to understand them. They acted before the applause. They moved before the crowd could catch up. They believed when there was no sign that belief made sense. The world will try to measure you by your current circumstances, your resources, your appearance, your past. It will try to box you in, label you, and calculate your worth through its narrow lens of logic. But logic has never built legends. Faith has, vision has, persistence has. The unseen force within you, that quiet conviction that whispers, "I'm meant for more." That is the birthplace of greatness. When you're becoming unbelievable, people won't get it. They'll laugh, they'll question, they'll doubt your every move. They'll tell you to be realistic, to slow down, to stay safe. But they don't realize that safety kills dreams faster than failure ever could. You can't become unbelievable by staying visible to the small minds who only see through fear. You must be willing to walk through seasons of obscurity, where nobody claps for you, where progress feels invisible, where everything inside you wants to quit. Because in that invisible grind, your power is being forged. The world believes in results, but you must believe in process. The world believes in titles, but you must believe in transformation. The world believes in evidence, but you must believe in energy, the unseen vibration of your determination. When you believe in what's invisible, you tap into a power that those who rely on proof will never understand. You stop being controlled by what is and start being driven by what could be. You start walking like you already have it, speaking like it's already done, preparing for the stage before the spotlight ever shines. That's what separates the unbelievable from the ordinary. The world will only believe after you've done it, but you must believe before you see it. The world only believes what it can measure, but greatness is born in the unseen. We live in a time where people trust numbers more than vision, where success is judged by statistics and validation, not by conviction or character. Society teaches us to chase visible signs of progress, money, fame, approval, applause. But the real power lies in what cannot be seen. Every movement, every empire, every masterpiece, every revolution started as something invisible. It started as a thought. It started as a whisper in the mind of someone who refused to accept the limits around them. You see, the unseen is the birthplace of the extraordinary. It's where ideas are nurtured before they become innovations, where dreams take form before they become destiny. The invisible realm of belief is where real greatness is born, and the tragedy is that most people never learn to live from it. The problem is that the world has been conditioned to only believe what it can measure. It measures you by your background, by your education, by your status, by the size of your following, by the amount of money in your account. It counts your mistakes, your failures, your shortcomings, and tells you who you are based on what it can calculate. But the truth is, you cannot measure a vision, you cannot calculate a calling, you cannot put a price tag on purpose. What lives inside you does not fit into the formulas of logic or the opinions of others. The world may look at you and see limitation, but what they cannot see is the unseen fire inside of you. That fire doesn't need validation, it needs belief, it needs faith. It needs you to see what others cannot, because the world only wakes up to your greatness after you've proven it. But the power that births greatness comes long before the proof appears. Becoming unbelievable means learning to trust what the eyes can't see. It means walking with faith when facts tell you to stop. It means believing in yourself when nobody claps, when nobody notices, when nobody even cares. That's where the separation happens. Most people give up in the unseen stage of their story. They want recognition before they've earned resilience. They want visibility before they've developed vision. But the unseen stage is where you are refined, where your strength is forged, where your character is tested. The unseen is where your belief must be louder than your reality. When you keep showing up without evidence, that's when you start becoming unbelievable. Because it's easy to believe when the results are clear. It's easy to trust when everything's working out. But when you can't measure progress, when your dreams are delayed, when your effort looks invisible, that's when the real work begins. The world wants proof before they believe, but your calling demands belief before the proof. The greatest dreamers didn't wait for approval, they moved without it. They didn't wait for the world to catch up. They acted before the world even noticed. They believed when no one else did. Every legend started as a misunderstood dreamer. Every innovator was once called unrealistic. Every game changer was once dismissed as foolish. That's what makes them unbelievable. They kept going when no one believed, and that's what turned their disbelief into destiny. The unseen stage of your life may feel lonely, but that loneliness is the soil of greatness. It's where you learn to create without applause, to fight without followers, to work without witnesses. That's where you become unbreakable. People around you may not understand your journey. They'll say you're dreaming too big, moving too fast, reaching too high. They'll tell you to be realistic, to stay safe, to think smaller. But the truth is, their disbelief isn't about you. It's about them. They only believe what they can measure, and because they can't measure your vision, they call it impossible. They don't know the strength of your spirit. They can't see the fire of your faith. They can't hear the quiet voice that tells you to keep going when everything around you says stop. Their limited belief has nothing to do with your limitless potential. You don't need them to believe. You don't need them to see. You just need to keep moving, keep building, keep trusting the unseen power that's guiding you. The unseen doesn't mean the unreal. The unseen is the seed. You don't see a tree the day you plant it, but that doesn't mean it's not growing. You don't see muscles the day you lift weights, but that doesn't mean your body isn't changing. Growth begins in places the eye cannot reach. Progress starts beneath the surface. The same way the roots of a tree grow deep before the branches ever appear, your success grows in silence long before the world calls you successful. The unseen work you're doing, the long nights, the quiet sacrifices, the moments of self-doubt you push through, those are the things that shape you into someone unstoppable. When you believe in what's invisible, you start living differently. You stop chasing validation. You stop explaining yourself. You stop waiting for permission. You start building with conviction. You start waking up with a fire that can't be extinguished by circumstance. You start walking with an energy that confuses people who can't see your vision. You start moving as if it's already done, as if what you've prayed for is already yours. That kind of belief makes you magnetic. It draws opportunities, connections, and breakthroughs that others call luck. But it's not luck, it's alignment. It's the unseen catching up to the seen. Every moment you choose to believe in your unseen potential, you separate yourself from the crowd. The world sees limitations, you see possibilities. The world sees statistics, you see destiny. The world says, prove it first. You say, I already know. That's what being unbelievable looks like. It's standing firm in faith while others fold in fear. It's smiling through silence because you know that one day, the same people who doubted you will have no choice but to believe. The same world that ignored you will be forced to recognize you. But by then, you won't need their belief. You'll already have your breakthrough. You have to understand that the unseen is not your weakness. It's your weapon. That invisible drive, that unmeasured hunger, that quiet persistence, those are the qualities that make you dangerous. You don't have to show your work. Your results will speak for you. You don't have to announce your vision. Your manifestation will prove it. The secret of the unbelievable is that they don't chase the visible, they master the invisible. They don't wait for signs, they create them. They don't live by sight, they live by spirit. So while the world is busy measuring, you keep believing. While they're calculating odds, you keep creating outcomes. While they're watching for proof, you keep walking by purpose. Because greatness doesn't come from being seen, it comes from being certain. And once you learn to live from the unseen, no limitation can hold you, no doubt can break you, and no opinion can define you. Ordinary effort can't unlock extraordinary destiny. Too many people think that doing just enough will somehow lead them to greatness. But greatness doesn't respond to average. It doesn't answer to minimal energy or half-hearted consistency. Extraordinary lives demand extraordinary effort. You can't casually walk into excellence. You have to wrestle for it, sacrifice for it, and commit to it beyond what feels convenient. Ordinary effort is comfortable, predictable, safe. It keeps you where you are. Extraordinary effort stretches you, challenges you, breaks you open, and forces you to evolve. It requires doing what most people refuse to do. It's waking up early when you're tired, working when others are resting, believing when results haven't shown up yet. The world gives its rewards to those who push beyond the limits of ordinary thinking and ordinary behavior. Every person who became remarkable had to go beyond the minimum. They gave their all when others gave up. They worked in silence when nobody cared. They trained, studied, practiced, prepared, and endured through seasons where quitting made sense. But they stayed in the fight because they understood that destiny doesn't come to the comfortable. It comes to the committed. Most people say they want greatness, but their actions don't match their words. They talk about success, but they move with the energy of survival. They want the extraordinary, but they operate at the level of average. You can't expect divine results from lazy effort. You can't expect massive growth from minimal action. Ordinary effort can get you stability, maybe even comfort, but it will never get you transformation. It's not enough to want it. You have to work like you're obsessed with it. You have to give yourself permission to go all in. Extraordinary destiny requires an extraordinary decision, one where you say, I refuse to settle. I refuse to stay where I am. I refuse to live a life that doesn't challenge me. Because the truth is, growth and greatness are always inconvenient. They demand your time, your focus, your energy, your discipline. They pull you away from distractions and force you into development. Ordinary effort is what everyone understands, but extraordinary effort confuses people. They'll ask you why you're working so hard. They'll tell you to slow down, to enjoy life, to stop overdoing it. But they don't see what you see. They don't feel what you feel. They don't carry your calling. The dream inside you is not ordinary, so your work ethic can't be either. You can't listen to the voices that call your commitment too much. You can't listen to the ones who say you're crazy for believing in something that doesn't exist yet. Extraordinary effort looks crazy until it succeeds. It looks excessive until it works. It looks unnecessary until it's undeniable. Every master was once called obsessed. Every visionary was once called unrealistic. Every game changer was once told to calm down. But that's the price you pay for an extraordinary destiny. You have to be willing to look unreasonable. You see, ordinary effort seeks balance. Extraordinary effort seeks breakthrough. Balance is what keeps most people comfortable. Breakthrough is what separates the exceptional from the forgotten. Balance says, do enough to get by. Breakthrough says, do whatever it takes. Balance keeps you safe, but breakthrough changes your story. The extraordinary life doesn't belong to the talented. It belongs to the relentless. The people who outwork their limitations, who push through pain, who stay committed when the excitement fades, that's where the power is. Because the truth is, talent can open doors, but consistency keeps them open. Desire can start the journey, but discipline sustains it. Extraordinary effort turns dreams into reality through action repeated long after the motivation disappears. Most people give up not because they lack potential, but because they underestimate what it takes. They think one burst of effort will bring success. They think one big move will change everything. But destiny doesn't unfold overnight. It unfolds through daily dedication. Extraordinary destiny doesn't respond to your feelings. It responds to your faithfulness. It's not about how you feel. It's about how you fight. You won't always be motivated, but you can always be consistent. You won't always be inspired, but you can always be intentional. Extraordinary effort means showing up when your body says no, when your mind is tired, when your emotions are heavy. It means doing what needs to be done even when nobody's watching. That's what separates winners from wishers. Ordinary effort is visible, but extraordinary effort happens in the dark. It's in the late nights, the early mornings, the moments of doubt, when you still choose discipline. It's in the silence where you build skill, where you sharpen your craft, where you prepare for your moment. People only see the results. They don't see the repetition. They see the highlight, but they don't see the hidden work that made it possible. Extraordinary effort is never glamorous. It's gritty. It's uncomfortable. It's lonely. It's not about looking busy. It's about being effective. It's not about showing off. It's about showing up. That kind of effort transforms not just your results, but your identity. It changes who you are from the inside out. Extraordinary effort also means being willing to fail forward. It means you stop fearing mistakes and start using them as lessons. You stop letting rejection define you and start letting it refine you. Ordinary people stop when it hurts. Extraordinary people push through the hurt until it helps. Every failure is feedback. Every setback is training. Every disappointment is data. You can't become great if you quit every time it gets uncomfortable. Pain is the price you pay for progress. Every extraordinary destiny is paid for in sweat, in sacrifice, in sleepless nights, in unwavering commitment. And the beauty of it is that once you've given that kind of effort, life opens up in ways you never imagined. You start to attract opportunities that match your energy. You start to see breakthroughs that make every sacrifice worth it. When you commit to extraordinary effort, you start developing extraordinary character. You become more focused, more patient, more powerful. You stop chasing shortcuts and start building substance. You stop waiting for opportunities and start creating them. You stop blaming and start becoming. You start understanding that no one's coming to save you. You are the one who must rise. Extraordinary effort builds confidence because you know you've earned what you're chasing. You don't have to fake it when you've worked for it. You don't have to pretend when you've prepared. Ordinary effort can make you good at what you do, but extraordinary effort will make you unforgettable. It will make you the one others study, the one they talk about, the one they can't ignore. When you decide to give more than what's expected, to push further than what's comfortable, to fight harder than what's fair, that's when your destiny opens up. Because destiny doesn't respond to the lazy or the lucky, it responds to the determined. Extraordinary effort rewrites the rules. It says, I don't care what's normal, I care what's necessary. It says, I'm not here to blend in, I'm here to break through. So if you want to unlock the kind of destiny that changes everything, you can't approach it casually. You have to be willing to live differently, to work differently, to think differently. You have to give your best when no one's watching, to trust the process when it feels slow, to believe that your consistency will pay off when nothing seems to move. Because the truth is, extraordinary destiny doesn't happen to those who wait, it happens to those who work, those who persist, those who refuse to give anything less than everything they have. Your disbelief is the prison that holds your power. Every time you doubt yourself, you build another wall around what you're capable of. Every time you question your worth, you hand over your strength to fear. Doubt is not harmless, it's destructive. It doesn't just keep you from dreaming, it keeps you from becoming. The most dangerous enemy you'll ever face isn't failure, rejection, or struggle, it's disbelief. Because disbelief doesn't need to fight you directly, it only needs to convince you to stop fighting for yourself. It whispers that you're not ready, not smart enough, not talented enough, not worthy enough, and once you believe it, it wins. You start to shrink your vision to fit your fear. You start to choose safety over purpose. You start to silence your own potential. Disbelief locks the door from the inside. And the tragedy is that you hold the key. Most people live their entire lives imprisoned by disbelief. They don't try because they assume they'll fail. They don't speak up because they think nobody will listen. They don't dream because they think it's too late. But disbelief doesn't reflect truth. It reflects conditioning. Somewhere along the way, someone told you that you weren't enough, and you started believing it. Maybe it was a teacher, a parent, a friend, or even your own mistakes that taught you to doubt yourself. But none of those voices define your future. The only thing that defines your future is your belief. What you believe sets the boundaries for what you can achieve. If you believe you can't, you won't. If you believe you can, you begin to find a way. Your disbelief isn't protecting you, it's preventing you. It tells you it's keeping you safe from disappointment, but what it's really doing is keeping you small. It makes you overthink, overanalyze, and underestimate your strength. It convinces you to settle for less than you're capable of. It keeps your dreams on hold while you wait for the right time, as if confidence will magically appear one day. But belief doesn't come after success. It comes before it. You don't believe because you've achieved. You achieve because you've believed. Every step of progress, every moment of courage, every act of resilience starts with one decision: to believe that something greater is possible. There are people with less talent than you, less opportunity than you, less education than you, who are doing more with their lives simply because they believed they could. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't need proof. They refused to be prisoners of disbelief. They decided to act even when it didn't make sense, to move even when they were scared, to trust even when they had no reason to. That's what separates those who rise from those who remain. Belief doesn't guarantee ease, but it guarantees movement. Disbelief keeps you stagnant. It freezes your potential. It traps you in cycles of almost and someday. You have to make a choice. Either you believe in your limitations or you believe in your possibilities. You can't hold both. Disbelief is comfortable because it gives you excuses. It tells you, "I didn't try because I wasn't ready," instead of facing the pain of failure. It gives you a way out, but that way out becomes a lifetime of regret. The most painful words you'll ever carry are, "What if? What if I tried? What if I believed? What if I didn't let fear win?" Those questions haunt the hearts of people who let disbelief decide their destiny. Belief, on the other hand, asks for courage. It asks you to trust something you can't see. It asks you to step out before you feel prepared. But once you do, you begin to realize that the cage was never real. The limits were never real. They were just illusions created by fear, and belief is the light that exposes them. When you start believing in yourself, everything begins to shift. The way you speak changes. The way you walk changes. The way you think changes. You start to expect more, demand more, and attract more. You stop chasing approval because belief gives you validation from within. You stop comparing yourself to others because belief reminds you that you have your own lane. You stop begging for opportunities because belief empowers you to create them. The more you believe, the more your world expands. Possibilities that once seemed out of reach start to unfold. Doors you never knew existed begin to open. Because belief is magnetic, it draws toward you the experiences that match your confidence. But disbelief will always try to come back. It doesn't disappear forever. It shows up when things get hard, when progress feels slow, when the dream feels distant. It will whisper again, trying to pull you back into that prison of self-doubt. And when it does, you have to remember that you are stronger than your disbelief. You've already proven it every time you survived something you thought you couldn't. Every time you pushed through pain. Every time you stood up after being knocked down. Every time you kept going when quitting felt easier. You were proving your power. The same strength that got you through those moments is still in you. You don't need to find belief. You just need to uncover it. It's been buried under fear, comparison, and the noise of opinions, but it's there. Belief isn't a feeling. It's a choice. It's a decision to say, even if I don't see the way, I'll still move forward. You can't wait for confidence to appear before you act. Action creates confidence. Every step you take toward your goal strengthens your belief. Every time you challenge your comfort zone, you break another link in the chain of disbelief. You start realizing that fear was never the enemy, it was your teacher. It showed you where your limits were, and belief showed you that you could move past them. You must understand that disbelief doesn't die easily because it's been fed for years. It's been strengthened by past failures, negative voices, and your own doubts. To escape it, you have to starve it. You have to feed your faith instead. You feed it with affirmations, with gratitude, with consistent action, with surrounding yourself with people who speak life into you instead of draining it out. You feed it every day until your belief becomes your default state. Because the moment your belief becomes stronger than your disbelief, your power is released. You stop waiting for opportunities. You start walking in authority. You stop playing small. You start taking up space. You stop surviving. You start thriving. Most people never experience the full measure of their potential because they never escape the cage of disbelief. They see walls where there are only doors. They see impossibility where there's only fear disguised as logic. They talk themselves out of miracles because they can't measure them. They choose doubt over destiny because belief feels risky. But the truth is, disbelief is the biggest risk of all. It guarantees failure before you even begin. Belief, on the other hand, gives you a chance. A chance to become, to grow, to create, to live fully. You have everything you need right now. The strength, the talent, the wisdom, the ability. It's already in you. The only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is your belief. You don't need more time, more resources, or more approval. You need more belief. Because once you believe, you move differently, you speak differently, you decide differently. You no longer negotiate with your potential. You no longer argue with your calling. You no longer ask for permission to exist fully. You rise, you act, you become. Every miracle starts as an unreasonable decision. Nothing great has ever been created by someone who played it safe. Every breakthrough, every innovation, every transformation began with someone who refused to be logical, who refused to let fear dictate what was possible. The world calls it unreasonable, but that's because it hasn't seen the outcome yet. Every person who achieved the impossible started with a decision that didn't make sense to anyone else. It's unreasonable to believe you can succeed when the odds are against you. It's unreasonable to dream big when your resources are small. It's unreasonable to keep going when failure seems certain. But it's in those unreasonable moments that miracles are born. Reason plays it safe. Faith changes history. Reason says wait until you're ready. Faith says go even when you're not. Reason calculates, faith creates. Reason watches, faith works. The difference between those who live average lives and those who create unbelievable ones is the courage to decide when logic says stop. The truth is, your destiny won't make sense to most people. It won't even make sense to you sometimes. You'll have moments when you wonder why you're still pushing, why you still care, why you still believe, when everything around you tells you it's impossible. That's because you're walking a path that reason can't explain. Logic can only take you so far before it becomes limitation. You can plan, prepare, and predict, but at some point you must leap, and that leap will never feel reasonable. The moment you decide to act on faith, to move toward what you feel called to do instead of what looks safe, you step into the realm where miracles happen. It's that moment when you say, I don't care if it doesn't make sense. I know what I feel. I know what's pulling me forward. That's when you activate a power greater than fear, greater than doubt, greater than reason. Every person who ever changed the world made an unreasonable decision. The one who left a stable job to build a vision no one believed in. The one who trained when everyone else was resting. The one who took rejection after rejection and still said, I'm not done yet. The one who had nothing left but belief, and that belief turned into evidence. They all looked foolish at first. People laughed, doubted, criticized, and questioned their sanity. but the same people who laughed eventually watched them lead. That's the irony of being unreasonable. At first they doubt you, later they quote you. They say you're crazy until your results make sense. That's why you can't let the opinions of reasonable people dictate your faith, because if you do, you'll never rise above average. You'll never see what faith can do. You'll never discover the miracle that was waiting for your courage. The problem is that reason wants to protect you from disappointment, while faith wants to position you for destiny. Reason says, don't risk it. What if you fail? Faith says, risk it. What if you fly? Reason says, play it safe. Faith says, take the shot. Reason says, you're not ready. Faith says, you'll learn on the way. Every time you choose reason over faith, you shrink your potential. Every time you choose faith over reason, you expand your world. Miracles aren't logical because they don't operate on the rules of what is. They operate on the vision of what can be. They require movement before manifestation. You can't wait for everything to make sense before you move. You move, and then things begin to make sense. You don't wait for the path to appear, you create it with every step. Most people want proof before they believe, but those who create miracles believe before there's proof. They take that unreasonable decision, the one that says, I'm going to do it anyway. They say yes when fear says no. They act when everyone else hesitates. They build when no one sees the blueprint. They give when they have little. They dream when they have nothing. They start when the timing isn't perfect, because deep down they understand that waiting for perfect conditions is just another form of procrastination. If you wait until it makes sense, you'll never start, because miracles don't grow in the soil of logic. They grow in the soil of faith. Unreasonable decisions are uncomfortable. They test your resolve, your patience, your endurance. They put you in situations